So weird.
Oh, it's been so like 12 years ago. Every now and then it starts. You got one of those expensive ones. Like, what? Like, well, wife just bought me. Like we're not here. It's 10 days. Right after so it's your stage.
Staying up for a week.
12 years ago, I used to run.
Right now, it's just the Thursdays.
Yeah.
Of course, whenever I get like a free weekend or something, and I can get the wife. So
everything TCU's
all the time. We're trying to hang out for hours.
They have a 1/8 of a mile track. Yeah. Perfect circle. You only go 1 mile.
All right, guys. So tonight we're going to kick off some study of triangles, specifically the front triangle. Yeah, I figured you'd be excited about this. So I think if I had to go in order, you can get your take on this. Yeah, everybody's take, but I think if we had to kind of like rate submissions, like effectiveness, based on like your positioning plus the effectiveness of the actual submission, I think rear naked choke is, I think, king. Like I don't know if there's any better than that. And then for me, like either some form of head and arm choke or triangle is going to be next, and I would probably put triangle next. What do you think? Before triangle, or
I would do guillotine up there with rear naked.
Okay.
But yeah, head and arm and triangle. Like then, yeah, all the head and arm chokes like triangles or the head and arm itself.
The only reason I put for me, I put triangle above head and arm choke is because it's your legs against their head instead of just your upper body. So presumably always stronger. So we spent a good amount of time on the back, and so I think that the next, and we can always be going back to that, but I think the next most effective like bang for your buck, especially if you're like new, is studying triangle. So
what about power line? All fat folk like me like power line.
yeah, I think Kimura is like honestly like Kimura is like right after triangle for me.
I like Kimura.
Because of the control mixed with like,
That's my
and the
bread,
transitional
brother.
control you have. Yeah. It even sets up the triangles. So
Yeah, it's true.
so I think so. First off, it's not super commonly known, but there are 5 different types of triangles, and we're only going to focus in on one today, and probably one for the next week. Like we're not going to go over all 5 right now. Most triangles you've ever seen, whether you've seen them in UFC or you walk into any of the gyms, is going to be this type of triangle right here, where I'm in front of him, and this is called a front triangle. Okay. But there are several others. There is rear, there is side, there's reverse, there's opposite, and then we also have the Japanese names actually written up there still on the chalk wall. Front is Omote Sankaku. All right, and if you can't remember that, you just remember front triangle, and it's when I'm in front of him. These are between Omote, front, Ushiro, rear, and Hantai, which is opposite. You can actually transition from all 3 of these. So if I have a front, but he hides his arm, I can transition to a Hantai, which is a opposite side, or if I were to just rotate my hips around Hudson, everything else remaining equal. Or move my hips around him. Good. No, let me take it back real quick. Just sit there. Yeah, just so right here. If nothing else has changed other than rotating my hips, this is Shiro Senkaku, rear triangle. Those 3 can interrelate. You can chain those together, and then the other 2, Gyaku and Yoko, you can also chain those together. That's as much as I'm going to say about the 5 triangles right now. Just wanted you to be aware that you can hit triangles from a lot of places, not just like when they're in front of you. So real quick, our first drill is just going to be starting here from what we call a trap triangle. So this is when, first off, the requirements for any triangle is 1 arm in, 1 arm out. Okay. So like anytime his arm's still in, there's no triangle. Even if his hand is still kind of fighting inside, I don't really have a triangle threat yet, right? But once I've got 1 arm in, but 1 arm out, I have just his head and his arm trapped between my legs. Well, right now, a shoulder as well. this is where I can start setting up the triangle. Now, here you'll see my feet are crossed, but I'm not really able to apply any kind of strangulation pressure right now, okay? This is just kind of like, think of a front triangle, think of this as being set up in 2 phases. So this is a phase 1. It's where we're gonna call this is the trap triangle. This is where I have the head and the arm trapped between my legs and I have my feet crossed, okay? Next phase is when I actually start to cut the angles and be to where I can actually apply strangulation pressure. So what I want you to do first, before we get too in the weeds and nerdy, is just start at this trap triangle. All I want you to do is focus on breaking his posture by never reach. Always bring your knees to your chest to break his posture, and then I can collar tie him. And then as I control his posture, all I want you to do for this first lesson, just to get some of you, it'll be your very first triangle, right? So I want you to control this posture, stay strong with this by back heeling with this leg. I want you to take this top leg to the hip, find his hip. I'm going to use it to cut an angle. So I'm going to push off of his hip and watch my knee and my leg rotate as I cut this angle. Okay. Reference point for you here is making sure that the bottom half of your leg here is above both of his shoulders. So if I have shoulder here, shoulder over here, my leg is closer to his head than his shoulders are. Okay. From here, I continue controlling his posture. I just want you to lock up the figure of 4. I'm gonna put my shoelaces in his knee pit. And then to get the tap here, this is a very basic triangle. We're gonna do a much better one, but this is your first one. We're gonna continue controlling posture. We're going to start to hip into the squeeze. And that'll be our tap, all right? So one more, just starting from the trap triangle. I need to bring him to me. It's his first, but the 2 main defenses that the 2 main reactions they're always gonna give you is either posturing or stacking you. And posturing is always probably going to be their preferred reaction if they can get there first. So as if I need to break his posture down, but I have a trap triangle, I can always bring my knees to my chest, and then I can take my collar tie to reinforce this. Once I've got the arm isolated and the collar tie, I'm continuing to bring my knees to my chest, and I'm back heeling, and now I can start to cut this angle by taking my heel to his hip, cutting my angle. Kind of, some coaches like to say, look in their ear. We can say that for now. We're gonna make this a little more complex in a second, but right now, yeah, look in their ear, and then continue controlling their posture. Bring this around, lock your shoelaces in your knee pit, and then we're gonna continue holding their head, controlling their posture, and we're gonna hip into them. Okay. When I say hip in, like literally, like kind of glute bridge, using that lock that you have as like your reference point, glute bridge. Okay. Questions on that? All right, let's do. Yeah.
Do you recommend that over
Yeah.
reaching for a thigh?
Not at all. I'm giving everybody the very basic first day triangle, and then we're gonna build on that. Yeah. Any other questions? You already know like the good one. Yeah. That doesn't mean this doesn't work. Okay. It's just good, better, best. Like we've seen this working in UFC, like just a standard old Gracie Jiu Jitsu front triangle. So like, let's not say it doesn't work, but there is better. All right, we'll explore that tonight. Any other questions? All right. Oh, I saw the posture. All right, 1, 2, 3.
All right. Well, I see like
I start when I need to start stacking up. I see. Yeah.
I'll show you, I'll show you what. This is good.
You're baking them with the scissors.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You're just creating the level.
It's one of the most, this one.
So you like take that. You're like this.
That's a good one. This? Yeah. Somebody on my head. Like.
A year ago, it's some case. Yeah, like for your hands stuff,
Set something up.
Yeah, once you broke it, I'll share it. So, the let me go this. So, I'm trying to go into like the. Ready. Which is right now. Either way, I'll make sure that as we transition. That we can take you guys to
Maybe if you can see what he's doing, like what he's doing, each triangle, you can kind of. Cause it's tight, but it's not tight.
What do you mean?
Like, I can do it, but it's not all the way like locked in, so I get so kind of.
That's probably because it's brand new. The finish is really, after you get in there, you finish. Part of it, and especially with the, this version of the triangle.
I mean, I'm already.
You really gotta get like the leg and way, all the shoulder, the whole 9 yards. So we're gonna be there. So again, that's
more on the top of it. I'm not first. Now, yeah.
I'm also part of the experience.
Right, that's what I'm saying. He's going, that's what he does.
Yeah, I figured.
That's all. Once he does everything together, he'll get it fresh.
Okay.
Oh. Tucker had a hard time finishing it. He always has. He's good. It's difficult for him. It's like breathe.
I was trying to say, because you think it's part.
Stop, you know, They say, I'm gonna go jail for adoption and adopt a name.
My neck is all small.
Wait, I have no guard.
Let's go.
This time you go.
I'm not coming.
Alright. Now.
Yeah, like I said, you're gonna send me back to the traffic. So first off, I'll be. The first thing I want you to do is, as you flare your knees out, bring the pulse to your chest at the same time. And that's going to bring it to you. Now, I want you to take your left heel to this hip as you continue back doing this. Now you're going to use that to shrimp out to the side. And as you allow this, allow the windshield wipe through your shin is above the shoulder. Look at his ear. All right, let's just go to side. Look at this ear. Push from this ear. Look at his ear. Can you see where your shin is right now? The game is see that. Yes. Right. And then like just kind of start about that. Is this rough on your
All right, so then
I'm more expecting stuff. I want keep his posture. How's the posture? Personally, but also you're looking at it. Oh yeah, keep your hands also in the floor. Yeah, that's right.
yeah. None of that. But it's just, I got Ian at the church.
Yeah. I'm making it fun. I'm not remembering the key.
That's why I think if you put you to for him. I got him in the north south. No.
Hey, your dad's
I signed the corporal punishments left over. It can be on you.
You did?
Yeah, I signed it.
Been using that. Okay, for you, said, Brian.
Okay, everybody get 3 more of these and we're gonna move on.
That's working.
Hey, Jason. They sent me through the
But yeah, you were doing that like.
And like you think, man, that there'd be nothing about maybe this week.
Get one down.
Yes. I think after a while.
This. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just gonna tell you, like, I don't know if he rethought things or what.
That's fair.
You just not, it's not going all the way back.
Take our word.
Yeah, that was weird. I love it. That's. I was here, everything you can factors.
That's her thing. It did all laugh. Like, you know, you know, the situation. But you know, I just want to know all the different. I'm like, no, okay. Like that. More hard. Not hard.
Also, like,
recent cold weather, yeah, when you may or may not have enough gas.
Yeah.
Because you like, it's following the, he's having shit that wakes up, so get back, yeah.
All right, y'all. Let's all right, so to reiterate, classic front triangle doesn't like there's nothing wrong with it and it can work, but we like to do good, better, best, right? So first thing we're gonna do, everybody, let's make some space. So let's just circle up right here. All right, we're gonna do a little kipping drill real quick. Just to some of y'all just get used to warming up your hip, getting them shooting toward the ceiling. All right, so just circle up, make a little space. All right. You might feel silly, but this is actually fundamental for not just shooting triangles, but arm bars, leg entanglements, like with Rimiashi that we went over last month. Like anytime we can elevate our hips, or elevating our hips is really important. All right, so and also with mount escapes, like kipping, like this is a very applicable movement in a lot of places. So first thing we're going to do, we can we'll cheat a little bit. Start seated. All I want to do is start to ball up as I fall back. I'm going to bring my knees to my chest. All right, so this is one. I'm just going to fall back, bring my knees to my chest. All right, I become a ball. You see how when we're kids and we're in a swing set, right? Or I'll still hop in a swing set when I take my kids to the park, like whatever. But you naturally like tend to kind of kick your legs forward and retract them in to build momentum and maintain momentum. You know, like once you get to that like peak, it's really easy to just kind of maintain momentum with just a little leg movement, timing it right? Everybody's felt this, right? Anyone not used a swing set before? Ask me questions. All right, so the idea is the same. If I want to be able to transfer momentum, right? The idea of a kip, I want to be able to use my legs to transfer momentum and throw my body. Okay, they do this in gymnastics. We do this in jiu-jitsu. They do it in CrossFit, right? So what I'm going to do is as I initiate momentum by bringing my knees to my chest and I'm falling backwards, at a certain point right there, right, my hips start to come off the ground. I want to now transition or transfer that momentum towards the ceiling. So what I want you to do is going to look like this. We're going to become a ball and we're going to shoot our feet towards the sky. And we're just going to keep going up and down for a second. All right. So look, my knees go to my chest, I shoot up, and look how they come back to my chest when I come down, so that I can redirect the momentum back forward, okay? Right? So do it. You can even make sure you're breathing, not holding your breath, okay? You should be able to like talk through this. It's not like, it shouldn't be super physically demanding, okay? But also it is a new movement for several of you, so don't, you know, it might take a second to feel it. Once you got a few of those, we're gonna make it a little harder by, now that I'm flat, right? I'm barely off the mat right now. There's a lot of friction between me and the mat. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I can still generate momentum by bringing my knees to my chest. And I'm always like, when I say become a ball in jiu-jitsu, the goal is to reduce friction with the mat, because as my shoulders and my hips are all on the mat, like it's a lot harder for me to move around. But if I ball up, any of y'all right now should be able to come and fairly easily start to spin me around, right? If we're playing guard and I'm a ball, I can easily frame on him and start to spin around, right? So reducing friction, becoming a ball, really important in jiu-jitsu. And in this case, as I bring my knees to my chest, I'm gonna have concave shoulders. See, my chin comes up towards my chest. I become that ball, and as soon as my hips reach this fulcrum right here, I can send my hips to the ceiling. I can redirect that. So it's gonna go like this, and it's the same movement, but I don't even have to sit all the way up. And this is where you start to learn how to control that momentum, right? Where I can either choose to come all the way up, or I can choose to just wait right here, right? I can just like I'm in a swing set, all right? Think of it like a swing set. If you want to slow down the swing set, it's hard for me to put it into words. Like you'll know to use your legs a little differently. I don't know how to, like, maybe someone else has a better explanation, but like you intuitively probably know how to slow yourself down in the swing set, right? By using your legs. The same concept of like, if I want to go faster or if I want to go slower, I rely on like my timing of my legs to change my center of gravity and direct it somewhere. Okay. So everybody get a couple more reps of that, and then we're gonna use. I swear this is applicable. All right. I know this looks a little silly, but I swear this is going to be pivotal for leg entanglements, triangles, even mount escapes. All right. And you can practice this at home. Like you don't need an axe for this on your bedroom board. Right? Yeah, you want to get even more applicable, do what Tucker's doing, right? You can once you're comfortable with the standard, you can start coming up, adding a little twist, and actually locking up triangles. Okay. That initial kipping motion, that's huge for jiu-jitsu. All right, let's get into this next phase now. So we're going to talk about mechanics. Okay. What?
I was just like rocking like a chair. I was
That'd be a funny video. We're all just sitting here like rocking. Like it's
like a little chairs.
All right, so let's talk front triangle now. The mechanics of finishing, like, right, we already had basic one, right, where we're just gonna kind of come off like in his ear, all this good stuff, right? It's good, it works, but there's better. Okay, so first off, just to talk about some concepts to give you like rules of thumb, no matter kind of what kind of triangle you're going for and what the position is. Some rules of thumb. My goal is to take as much of his shoulder out of the choke as possible. Okay, so what I mean by that is if I'm here and let's say I lock my triangle behind the shoulder, y'all see how much of his shoulder? Did everybody see? Y'all see how much of his shoulder is? Y'all can actually visibly see it, right? So first off, it's gonna be harder to choke him. Secondly, he can even emphasize this. He can shoot his arm through more, bring more of his shoulder in, and break my lock. Okay, and then start to knee cut, all that good stuff. All right, so blocking my lock behind the shoulder is typically not going to be a good idea because I can still see the shoulder. When I say let's take his shoulder out of the equation, I start at my trap triangle. First thing I want to do, obviously, break his posture. And now I need to be able to make a transition to be able to, like, as I cut an ankle, I'm going to be able to make his shoulder disappear here. Okay. It's like a magic trick. Like, as I cut this angle off to the side, watch my knee rotate into his ear. And now you can't see his shoulder anymore, right? You guys can't see his shoulder. Right now, if I lock this up, first off, it's much tighter. Okay. And the finish for this is I'm making my feet both point the same direction. I've got a wedge here that's right here in the back of his head, right above his ear. What's going on, man? Oh, sorry. Oh, thank you. Got this little wedge in the back of his head and back of his ear. That's also like reinforced, like, to where I'm controlling some of his posture. I'm also able to reinforce that with my hand. On top of this, I'm able to lock the lock far above his shoulder here. Right. So now if you look at my shin, back to what I said earlier, a good finish on the front triangle is going to be my shin is above his shoulders. Right. So let's, Chad, you go, come here. You do some dabs first. All right, so right here. This is the line, right? So I got this. This is the line that lines up Chad's shoulders with one another, right? If Hudson is behind here, right? If his foot, any part of his leg, his bottom half of his leg crosses this rod, he's going to have a lot of shoulder in his lock when he locks it up. But once he windshield wipes, he cuts this angle. Now when he locks it, the bottom half of his leg is above the line of the shoulders. When he locks it, it's going to be incredibly tight, and there's no shoulder in the choke. He just has a head and an arm. Does that make sense? Okay.
Block it. Honestly, you don't have to block it. You get this angle.
Yeah, it's pretty tight.
That's the power of no shoulder in the triangle.
Yeah.
Straight. He was already turning before it really even started, which it may just be his bottom legs.
Keeping your pants chilly.
All right, so look, rule of thumb, don't lock your lock right behind the shoulder. Okay, I always want first off, I want to beat him on the shoulder line here with the right angle. And then ideally, I want my lock always above the shoulder, but even better if I can get it above the head. Okay, so because one of his common reactions, if I got his posture controlled, is to start trying to stack. But if I track him by keeping my knee on the back of his head, right here, you see how my feet are pointed the same direction, and I still got this wedge here that's controlling his posture. As he stacks me, I can actually continue rotating with him, and I can take even more of that shoulder out, right? And it really just gets worse the more they stack you. They actually cinch the triangle almost like a tourniquet. They cinch it up even deeper. So the drill, sorry, it's long-winded. As I tend to be, I know, guys, I'm sorry. All right, trap triangle. First thing he's gonna look to do, early stage triangle defense is posture. So for me to break this posture, look how I've got my feet crossed here. I've got shoelace to shoelace. I can flare my knees and bring them towards my chest to bring his head to me. I don't want to be reaching up here. Okay, I want to bring him to me. Once I've secured this is where if I've actually got this, it's much more likely that they start trying to transition to a stack, right? But regardless, even if maybe they just freeze up, who knows? But regardless, my next phase, before I even worry about the leg, is to start cutting this angle. Sometimes this all happens at once. If they start stacking me quickly, go ahead. I've got to start rotating. See how my knee cuts down? The more he stacks me, the more my knee has to cut down towards his groin. And the more my hips need to get up back to that kipping motion of getting my hips up. I need to be able to throw my hip up, right? I need to be able to spin under and throw my hips up. I can also throw my hips behind him. You see how my feet are pointed kind of behind me in that direction, but the lock is going to be behind his head now. And this also means the more he even tries to posture up now, that he kind of chokes himself, right? So one more time, this is what I want you to do. Trap triangle, I want you to bring him to you by flaring your knees and bringing them to your chest. Have this. Next, I want you to start cutting an angle. So I want you to get this knee in front of the shoulder, make his shoulder disappear. The front of my knee is tracking his head. And I've also got his posture here. However he chooses, if he doesn't react at all, I can lock it there and finish him. If he starts reacting by stacking, I can continue spinning underneath him by cutting my knee down towards the groin and getting my hips up and locking the lock behind his head. Okay? So you can give him both reactions in this drill. Just start with the basic one where you don't even really stack him. But I want you as the attacker to focus on getting that shoulder out of the choke and focus on making sure your finish, that this part of your leg is above the shoulders. Those are the two big key details. That makes sense? Is there any question? All right, I'll be walking around. So, and Hudson, all right, 1, 2, 3.
Is the person who's doing drawing kind of stacking?
Yeah, I heard about the angle. Just mix it up like something like left, let's cut the angle at first with no reaction. Then stack it to or maybe try to
I got one.
Right. How much? I'm hearing that. If not, go here. Good thing. Stats. High school rolls. You have to stay here. That's the thing I do. It's just yeah. We got. One thing I'm still doing is I don't know about that. I'm more huge on top of it. I didn't know if that was like a thing to do. That much. My leg. Yeah. No, side grind. Right. Yeah. But I'm coming down. Just like yeah.
Now you're done my last lesson.
We need to get that.
And then that's yeah, that's all I do. Running man connection.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm going this way, but it's the
Yeah. I think
What is it?
I don't know. Just speaking on it. Okay.
Wait, so like, started that the block is on, or I get the here.
One touching.
Oh, it's small.
Yeah. You know, maps or something.
So you almost want to go. When you're trying to, almost when you're trying to get out of it, like that, you want to go this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Below the ears. Like, so yeah, first reaction to kind of. Yeah. Like you should read it back. You must have had this one.
So wait, man, we weren't sure.
And now it's pretty. Inversely, that's
Really, yeah, that's definitely
I'm not gonna do.
Like, you can just do that. And I also had shopping.
Position and things that security. With 7 seconds and sometimes.
Now, I start. You're gonna finish me on each other's stack.
This needed in the back of my head. Sorry. Now, you go to stack.
So either way, you can see under that, you have to see the way.
That bother. Like that.
Yes, you know, Yeah, you get the
Now,
still not today.
and then I'm starting to see more funky.
You're doing it. I'm like, now take it. Depending on how you my spot.
Hey guys, hey, let's bring it in real quick.
I'm like,
You put it on me, like you're being a babe.
So I'm gonna give you one key detail, and then I'm gonna give you a couple of
I'll see a couple of little goodies, especially for my advanced guys. So one big thing here is for me to lock that lock, like it being kind of north of his shoulder, that's great. Like that's at least like bare minimum, right? I don't want to lock it behind his shoulder where you can see it. I want to cut my angle, get my knee in front of the front delt, and that if I lock it there, it's obviously going to be much tighter. But it's better, like I said earlier, if I lock it behind the head. And for me to do this, I need to get so this is my choke leg, right? This is going to be my support leg. This is my choke leg because it's touching his leg. It's touching his neck, okay? I need to get the knee of my choke leg below his ear. Okay, so if it's right there, so that's right. I can see my.
Yeah.
Good. So right now my knee is above his ear. Right here, it's below his ear, right? In like right here in relation to the ground. Now, when if I'm controlling his posture still, this is why I wanted to warm up with that kipping drill. It's because I'm literally using a kipping motion to elevate my hips, shoot my hips towards the ceiling, and lock behind the head, like so. Okay, here, and see how I might even be here, right? I might not even have the leg yet, but I start to cut this angle by moving out to the side and penduluming my leg as I collect his leg. And now I'm able to lock my lock behind his head, okay? And that all comes from getting my knee lower than his ear. Like, so that's one extra key detail you can focus on is our big details: shin above the shoulders, lock at least above the shoulder. We want to take his shoulder out of the choke. And then lastly, cutting my knee under the ear. Now, for my more advanced guys, if he goes to stack more, sometimes I might need to continue letting my knee almost like something you got to feel. My knee has to come down towards the mat for me to continue like getting my hips elevated off the ground. Right. So like if he's really stacking me, I might have to get my knee like, see how almost at his groin? And it's all that's left is like my ankle behind his head, but I can still lock it right there. Okay. So this is something you can play with in open mat if you want to, is letting them like really stack you and allow your knee to, like, even right now, if it's just kind of barely below the ear, allow it to chop down
towards the groin as you shoot your far hip up to find, right? And all the while, I'm controlling posture, and as soon as I get my hips up, my knee is finding the back of his head, even if I don't have my lock yet. I want to be able to get my hips up, track the back of his head with this knee, and point my feet the same direction, okay? One more detail for my advanced guys, and then y'all just keep getting the same reps in. We're not going to do any more tonight. I want y'all to keep repping this. This is the most effective triangle you can get. Like, this particular variation of the front triangle is probably the best there is, but at least that we know of today, right? The next thing I'll show some of you guys, I was talking to a couple of you about this, is let's say he goes to stack, right? And I kind of lock this up so tight, he gets so off balance that he rolls over, right? I take him over to his side, right? This is right into 3/4 Jujikatame. If you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. It's a variation of armbar. It's the strongest variation of armbar is when I'm here, but both my legs are crossed over the head. So normal armbar, we'll go over armbars eventually, like a more in depth here. This would be like a standard armbar, standard Jujikatame. My leg is over his torso. My other leg is over his neck. In a 3/4, they're both over his neck and they're crossed. The benefit of this is if I take him over and I can't finish that triangle, almost every time you have a failed triangle, you have an armbar to fall back as a secondary attack. Okay, almost every time, because you still got an arm and your hips are still under the shoulder. Okay, so right here, we landed like this, right? Maybe I lose my angle, I can't finish this, but I can start armbar. Next, if he starts stacking me here, this is the beauty of 3/4. My knee comes back out, tracks the back of his head, and finds a triangle on the way up, right? So we can cause a pretty good dilemma here. But yes, remember, that's where like this is the advanced guys who want a little more, just play with that. Remember, failed triangle, almost always there's going to be an armbar attempt. Failed armbar, there's almost always a leg entanglement. So you can just keep attacking, okay? Any questions on what we've done so far? I'm not going to do any more tonight. Like, that's it. I want y'all to drill for another 5-6 minutes, and then we're going to do a positional, and then we'll have open mat, okay? Cool. Okay. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Practice that.
Grab it.
Yeah. I did.
Did that hurt your neck?
So, yeah, this one. No, sir. I'm getting home there. I got it.
But yeah, so yeah.
You're not gonna stack.
Okay. Basically, this I out.
Yeah.
And then fight your legs like just like consistent stations here. I need to like stood up. Oh, okay. That's like part of it. Yeah. And you know, we all straight to the. It's like I'm gonna play the sound and the beat that actually feels more fluid to me. I feel more comfortable with that one. It's like I can't. I'm gonna just say no. Yeah, but that's my suspicion. Like, I can all down. They want to be like the man. That's why I can still like go to everybody's deal. I just like, oh yeah. I'll figure it out.
I need to tap look at the. Yeah, that was like, okay, I can handle this, and then there it is. Well, it seemed like nothing to pass. Here's one of the. Yeah, the first one. It was.
But also, I mean,
I'm sorry.
I have stellar stuff.
Drop your knee or water. Come back. I'm not just.
So they
Doesn't make sense. I could get my jaw or everything else.
So surprise, the list, start a trap triangle and get a foot triangle. And you have a minute to do so. If you get the triangle, reset. If they get out and escape, just reset. Right? So we're not trying to go anywhere else. Dance guys, if you want to transition to the arm bar like that, like play it if you want to. All right, I'll leave that up to you. But on the bell, we're gonna do 60 seconds. Starting, and then it'll be the same person, and then we'll do the switch and do a minute for the other. Okay. We're starting at the trap triangle. Don't like worry about shooting the hips up and stuffing an arm and all that. Go ahead and start with the arm and the head secured. So let's get ready for that.
A bit more of this. Here. All 30.
All right, on the bell.
Not gonna just get out.
I know.
Not gonna get out.
Except third one. You held it pretty good.
Yeah, I don't rotate it.
Remember, if you're defending, your rule of thumb, try to get as much of your shoulder and choke as you possibly can. However, you gotta do that. But
That was more
hit.
He's almost there. Like that's feeling funny. Just keep rotating.
What do we get down the side?
Three, two, one. Time. All right, split.
That was good.
Just rotate with me.
Trap triangle. And on the belt.
That's small forward.
What are you waiting on, Chad? Get out of there.
He was letting me.
You get more of your shoulder in, Nick. More of your shoulder in as much as you can. Better do get your shoulder in.
That's not the territory. Whatever. Did it hurt? Or was it check? Yeah, everybody.
We're trying to build high now.
I saw you kind of like that.
Yeah. Time.
Supposed to.
Like, oh,
Hey, good job. We're gonna stay on triangles for at least a few more classes.
Yeah.
And I know we'll kind of round out with some more takedowns, passing, all that good stuff. But I do want to go a little deeper on the triangles because it's such a good submission. Reminders seminar coming up February 1st, Brandon McCaffrey. Don't know who that is. You will. Like, he's awesome. If you keep following jiu-jitsu, you'll definitely at least pump in his YouTube channel. He's a great black belt, super nice guy, and he'll be here on February 1st. And it's pay what you want. So like, literally, you pay $1. I don't care. Just please come. I want as many people in that spot full. Nobody's gonna want to come if we don't. You know, if people don't want to come to the seminar, then it's got to go. Have fun. So. It can't be a money thing, that can't be an excuse, so please come. All right, if you got plans, I won't be there, but I really want to. Also, if you're not in WhatsApp, please let me know after class or text me so you can be in WhatsApp. We regularly talk crap to each other and joke around in there, and sometimes that's got the changes in there. And also, if you're not in school, that's where you can find all the class recordings, as well as all the upcoming videos for all the curriculum that we're working through. You'll be able to find like an individual, like 3 to 5 minute video on just the front triangle or just the front triangle escape or every little piece of it. Okay, so if you're not in there, please also text me so that I can invite you. All right. Any questions about anything? Yes, end of March, Placido, San Francisco, be here in March. So that's also paying you. So please try to come to both stand. If there's anything I can do, beyond making it whatever you want to pay, but beyond removing the money as barrier, like if I can remove any other barriers, please let me know. All right. If you need me to help do your homework or any of that kind of stuff, just let me know. I want people to come. All right. I'm smart enough. All right. I can help homework. All right. Good. All right, y'all beat each other up or drill, whatever you want to do. I'm here for you. Hope you got questions. Thank you guys. What did you tell?
Got it.
And starts to take this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still working on coming back.
Man, I'm 2.5 weeks in on this carnivore diet. It's a carnivore keto. That's stacked. I'm dropping weight fast. Heck I did more times. Yeah, I'm still in nursing. One more where I think that we get started going. Here, I've got the boot that my wife had. If y'all turn like this doesn't feel right, but these can't. Also, if I keep off, I don't go back to the. Awesome. Both things do it. What? I'm gonna start. Oh. I'm not thinking about that.
Now, I think you're right. You have your
Well, it's
and now everything's staying the same. I use it once position. So if you want to pull your legs up so that you can actually go yeah, it's up, they put your feet that way, then you can try it. Still, yeah, should be much. Oh, I see. Now, right here, I was thinking, it's hurting. Yeah, let me try. I just have to. I'm not one out. So start telling my people. Also do that again. So that's I want to. Looks like I don't have to take it down. Like I think I need to be to stable over his people. And then I can pick my hips up and put one behind me and get my fist. So right here.
got arm bar, power line, back triangle.
Emphasize. Move along. And then emphasize. You might be up on the bed. Around with that off the mat. Maybe you might be from one second. And I mean, you know, if you're better. Only there's obviously when you do but if they do get to do like and then you try to figure out. And yeah, I can even spend under even more much yeah. I can make those like then I find if it's hurt, I'll be okay. But it's like right here to pressing. So what's not left? What's the yes, yeah, go ahead and take it back. That really so, rotate, continue to rotate when you inside as you try to get hips up. Back to getting up and pointing the same direction. Right there, now chop down. Find your deep bit. Now chop down. You're gonna have to figure out how to get you. I'm trying to figure out a better way to get about hip height and almost like a corkscrew motion where my body continues crunching into the side, the higher my hip feel. That's what actually makes me more happy. So it's like get that here.
You good?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, you use.
Yeah. I think they know as soon as you get it. Yeah, start hearing you.
Yeah, well, there's no and I was trying to figure out a better way. It's not like it's. I just think it's the way. We'll both say close up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How good is it? I might wait to hear it. Blow out over there.
I've heard Nick's thing blow out.
Oh, yeah.
That you got no put by the ground.
Remember when the
Every
big
guy-
guy come off?
Huh?
How loud it make you feel?
Yeah.
Yes. Now, I got it.
If you you're gonna be able to come a little more often. Yeah. Mostly weight. But she's. Right. Yes. Nice to see you. Yeah, thank you. I'm just going ready to. Scrambled. A couple scrambled eggs. Oh, yeah, took that head in. Oh. Hold on, that on my phone. 3 balls. And then over there, panicking. Pressure, turn. Arm. Here, if I didn't let you get prison on, I'm falling out. You want prison? Pressure. That's my leg, right? Like you like. I got it. Sorry. You want me to go? Okay.
Broth threshold.
Yeah.
Don't get too high.
You can get out of the I guess I'll.
Set it up. You'll let the face.
Oh, I see.
Jump right into it.
If I can get this.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
So hard.
Wait. If I try to hold up on it.
Yeah, it's like, I'm killing you, but the sacrifice of my language.
Good.
Oh, sorry.
Nice. I don't know what you can say.
I knew you were gonna keep it.
No, it was more not hurting, but I was feeling pressure. I didn't feel this. It was choke on that.
Right, dude, I can't ever do that right. Oh, it's hard. Yeah.
It's like the first week I felt like, oh, oh, no. UFC, those are big baby.
Ridge hard. Then high now. Gotta get it down all the way. I understand it now. Yeah. I think you're right. Yes, was fully out. At some point.
Nice.
You want to start and pop out? You can't. I get work. 30 seconds.
Yeah, hit that cardio. Dude, I got to. My cardio's ass.
You ticklish? Yes. No. Do it. Or it is. Well, what each play? I won't do it. I thought, all right.
Are you gonna do? Used to go to the old.
I've been around for a second. Yeah. That's all I'm trying to do.
Don't even do.
I'll get very light roll.
Like, how are you?
I'm 44, so.
You're longer than my life. Badass.
Have you done me one day before?
I know you had it wrong. You were on one time. And you were like, it's for 7-1. No, try it. I think it's still a hard one. Okay, cool. Good. Hey, honey, you're getting out of the time to film in a couple days. This. Yeah, I gotta Yeah, I'm saying, no, it's never been hard.
What's that?
Don't worry. Don't get arrested with that shit.
What is that?
I moved, I learned 18 years ago. I moved, I learned 18 years ago. Just one hand to get it. Oh, yeah. You see, that's the trick. You don't feel like you're in trouble. You know, all of a sudden it's on. Craig Jones, we're up and down. That's more like a pull and punch. Mine, I got my
Probably. See that. There you go.
I tried to jump on his back. Well, I thought about rolling, but I was like, no, I don't want to.
He was coming up the top,
Yeah,
but he forgot. He's like,
I take that with me.
Wasn't funny. That's all I can do.
It sounds funny, so I'll get a laugh.
everybody else the same way.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
It does feel it. Yeah, felt like I had to walk in and you just black it out. You had me when I was training on the basic thing.
I had to finish
So
that.
it's on
I like I still got you, but then when you get the chest, I couldn't even lock it up.
I loved it. That was straight there.
I didn't have anything. Let him win, Chef. Don't let him win. Hey, wait. Oh, he slipped out of that. I was like, yes, get me. So nasty.
That's how it didn't make it.
Yeah, I knew it was something that time, but I was like, ah.
So that,
Yeah, well, out there, you fight because once you have your arm for it's just like, I'm done.
What are you looking at that? What do you want me to do?
you got you turtle. You're not
Like, what has your head so?
you're loose.
I'll let it out. Don't do that. You get, I'm wrong. Yeah. Nothing. Get it, get it. Do the next night, now, check it. I hate to see it, Jim. Oh, you can use this for this. No, no. Forget, look at all the guys out of these.
All right.
No, the deal with, the deal with.
Got your angle.
Like, Roy Taylor was doing the. Okay, now.
This is what I mean when you have trouble finishing.
You're doing the same pocket, and go legs up, and you're gonna put me on one board from there. You see how to do it?
Worry about the harm that it means.
Okay, now, go back.
Hey, Andy, maybe we're clear.
That was
Go
good.
like on board.
Yeah.
All right, let's say you shoot for it. All right,
How's that?
I think that was.
So you took the same?
It was all right.
So it's just like the hardest one, for no reason, right?
30 seconds.
Try getting most butterfly.
Butterfly,
That right elbow, John.
so you go trying.
Let her move.
This one down.
If I could, because
Straight to front.
if you start in the root house,
Let's just start. Right. So
you're
let's say I got this, we're gonna get this one ready already.
10 seconds, Chris, I'll get it out. There you go. Finish it.
Power
Power line right there. Time.
Oh,
I'm done. Yeah, you want me to try it? Yeah.
You all ready to leave?
Probably. He's done, whatever you. Stop there, okay.
I probably do it. I think I want to go. So. Yeah, I could probably do it.
Okay, I got a. You got stuff with you or?
I don't have, do you have the pad and stuff? Are you practicing here?
Do you want gloves?
Yes. I don't know. And plus, I don't want to get, I don't want to get my stuff.
There you go.
Okay, let me put.
Oh, is it square in there?
Yeah. You might have to go in the class line on the find the pocket. We have to do that one on. Like, that's not, yeah, like. It's like camping and then. It's kind of like playing bottom and not ice. It's not bad. How long you been training? 6 years? 6 years. You've been here, yeah. 6, 7 months?
Probably 5.
Where are you?
Yeah, I've had now. I think my thing is I get played the truck. That's like. It's kind of like a mountain. Bigger days. One sound. Man, Josh.
No, it's brand. His brother's not here.
Yeah, I mean, he was just I was scared I was going to stand with him.
What you use with? Oh, the first one, you reckon? Right here.
It's got what's it up in
Well, I'm on it just. Yeah. They tried.
That was like, I thought you were asking.
How long you been training?
18 years. Okay.
Oh my God.
See, you're way too relaxed already, man.
Where we going? I've got JC, we're going, we'll see you. See you, man. Later, Hudson.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
I didn't want to commit to it at first just because I had double overs. That's me. And I put stuff back. Oh.
I thought I was in the
Oh, you know, massage it.
Nice try, Diddy.
Nice try, Kitty. Perfect.
There you go.
I'll balance this gonna be the best friend. I'm under the impression that you know where to go from here. Okay, well, I certainly don't. I'm a little bit, trying to figure out how to get this off. I'll balance, I'll show you what's the. So I had to, am I pushing you out that way?
Yeah, and then just show me your. If you don't get a try.
Yeah, sorry.
Punish him, chef. Limping, he's limp fish.
Hey, we love. Hey, we're eating fucking. Sure. You know what I want.
I should know this word. I don't think I'm like, I don't know. Hey,
I need to break this up now.
all right, y'all, good night.
See y'all.
You know, you're like, you know. You should, dude.
Hey, I'm not what you doing there. I got $2.
No. I just thought I was changing my plane around. Just acting. I tried a little dip switch. Just take it back.
Yeah.
That's that, but we can go doesn't need. When I was on top of it. Trying to figure out how to do that with order. Like. Dude, you almost get like signature like whiskey or just kitchen green.
No, you try. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, now. You got right here. And if you knew this, you would have been great. So it's like, we're gonna bring you out.
Hey.
You do basically clear this hook. I can go butterfly ashi and either go for the layout you were doing, or I can bring this knee for that. And then with this one, I can either back step into the saddle and already have control of the second leg. Or if you're hiding that back foot to not let me, you can sit on top. Like the whole thing comes off. Right now, she. I'm just holding. Oh, you see it?
Yeah, right here.
I look for your.
Well, for the amount of time I trained. He's out.
Yeah.
So you take your part of it. Take your knee.
I was like, the whole position is.
I'm gonna be around next fence here.
So butterfly combo.
I'm scared.
And then typically people will look to like, overhook on his hip.
On the frame from them coming in and crushing.
You start like going to your shoulder.
Yeah, I like to, I think what they talk about doing is just head posture and just maintaining this Achilles grip. Because as long as you have the Achilles, if you can't get your back, if you start going for the heel, you can come up and get your back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's it.
How important was that outside the butterfly?
It's not super, honestly, like,
Is it in the way if you don't put there?
you can, the ultimate goal is to get to outside Ashi.
What turn the other?
You got all this mechanic. You can do it from, he does it from 50-50 as well. How,
I think
there's a lot of stuff.
like that big of a special going on.
Yeah. The main one I always do is just off of the body fly.
Dave, yeah, well, at least it's like literally my second day.
That's why I usually somebody goes to grab my feet.
Now it stays sit.
Now it stays.
Some areas don't pass. It's pretty now, buddy. There you go. 3 times better.
That's if it's multiplied. If it's exponential, I'm.
He hit that freaking solid movie perfectly. I don't know if you've been watching that.
Oh, Mavericks? I've just never hit it, but I know the Mavericks.
Yeah, you never done
I never did them. Like, I was like, maybe I did one. It's not so like a sit down sleep, but I can't really get that on you anymore. Because you're gonna get the on, like sit down, and your feet are apart. And if I can't reach them out of you, then I'm what else to go for. So now I gotta start trying to do that because instead of that RNG thing.
Yeah,
Very good. Good job.
Peace.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah. I'm good. Just forced to take a little air out of me.
I'm gonna start trying to do that.
Yeah, too nice.
Catch myself a lot of time.
Might get a little patch.
I got a body of triangles.
Thanks.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. It's weird. Good.
I don't think so. I'll get it left foot. Start. As you do it. Yeah, you think I'll distract you.
Also, the first time I've ever actually done like.
Was it for him? It is. I had a little run. I say that. So it's not just building pressure. Move around.
But we're recording.
I was gonna try to do that. Yeah. I was sure. Good.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fun. He said it's easy to do on the bunch. Yeah, I know.
Not even wrong.
Yeah, take some. I struggle to know what to do.
Yeah. Let's start with being patient. So know where like the arms are. There's always a way to take advantage of it. First,
Yeah.
bring pressure. Right. Right now, you got a good line to. So let's get good face.
A lot of times, yes.
Let's get more of a attacking position. So let's get things down. I'm not saying never.
This
do.
isn't great.
First thing,
Sometimes if I can
like
come,
you take your,
I'll try to throw my leg over and then.
well, take your hands, grab. Don't put your hand that way. Grab underneath, and grab it underneath my shoulder. Yeah, I know. Yeah. No, bring your shoulder. Now, what you're doing is you're going your finger. So you're going to adjust. Get off the front. The only way my finger can go is that way. So you close the door to an escape. That's usually your contact.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
I think
Yeah. Let's keep the pressure. And then, right now
I
you
gotta
go to
start
the
and get.
because you're already under the elbow. Yeah.
No, that's a good question. Because
People still take.
I know it's typically when I get to those moments,
Sure.
thinking,
On my wrist.
I can get.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, and here's why. Go back up. If you allow people to get here. Yeah, you don't love this.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's shoving my arm. Now you start with your hand. Yeah,
So
take them out.
sometimes.
Finding. Always. I never out. It's just talking about the arm. With the arms, that's what I. I could get their arm.
Because I have.
Here. Either way. There you go. Nice. Very good. Good job. I'll check those up. I'll do this. In the closet. So you.
Oh, yeah. I'll like finish.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're really kept it like traditional. Basically.
I gotta do the step over.
Yeah, like
that.
Oh, you know, like, a lot of people just go very close. Like, people start from here. So, going to my down, definitely putting weight is good. If you can concentrate it, for sure, do this. I didn't want, you did this, I don't want to take away from it. Yeah, just make sure. One of the things I do, they keep their head that way. Yeah. Like I told you. It's just that shoulder. Feel that? Try to turn back out. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then when your elbow can, you put your shoulder down to try to put it. And the reason you turn that hand that way is so that shoulder can come down. Your hand up here and short kind of goes that way.
Yeah, it's more on my jaw.
Yeah, if I can bring it underneath, get a good note.
Yeah, it does not feel good.
Yeah, I feel the difference by head point. So you're like, oh, yeah.
My two goals are.
Yes, I'm like,
Yes.
Now, I'll actually use their body from here when it does no part as leverage to actually like push it. Yeah, so now everything, see how just a whole process for you like feel pressure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like this, this sucks.
It's solid. Yeah, it's a minimum. Right, yeah, it's like you just yeah, where the house.
Yeah, it's,
Ask them out, different things, whatever your options are. Yeah. Relax. Deliberate, and you just know where they're really from.
Yeah.
Really strong. Frames, the more of these up here, we can flex. Because now you're getting more.
Yeah.
And then one more trick. Anytime you get a list of shit, you just hair, it's when you're pushing over.
And just kind of like.
Well, outside one, usually come over like that.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, I guess if you see your history.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, stop, right?
It looked like they could use. And other people. I know you hit it. Do that. You could just sorry.
You end up back, yeah.
We're going to say.
How are you doing?
Already did.
Just got very well for 6 months.
I teach you guys all again.
Yeah,
I don't
That's what I'm saying. It's like, that's the guy who's teaching
very well.
calendar for this.
Incredible.
Actually, could have recorded them all.
It's my age. I know.
Who's your?
Yeah.
I'm 17.
Yeah, that's just.
I don't know why. No, they wait, 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 powerfully.
Did he get the jet on you?
Yeah, yeah.
You feel like you're amazing.
No, until it's like, it's there and it's, wait, can I get out of this? But I can't.
That's pretty cool.